I haven't done a video in my car for a while, so if this is really too janky, someone send me a message and let me know if it's just too hard to watch. But I wanted to unbox something. I was getting ready for work and I just had a thought, and I really just want to get it off my mind before I lose it entirely. Empathy. Okay, I want to unbox, they say, or unpack empathy. So we've all seen those Facebook quizzes that, 10 signs you might be an empath, or are you one of the rare few that might be an empath, or they make it sound like some kind of freaking superpower. And as much as I love that certain show from the 90s that I think all of us came to know and love, it's not. Okay, it's not a superpower. It's not some big special thing that only 1 in a million people have. Now, it is awesome, but I gotta tell you, everybody is or can be or should be empathic. And I say this, and I want to clarify, I mean both psychologically and magically. So, psychologically, empathy is sympathizing with someone, feeling that you've been in a similar situation, and, kind of trying to understand how they feel. Empathy being, bitch, I feel how you feel. I can feel off of you psychically that, you're feeling like blah, 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 blah. And, people that even hide their emotions really, really well, that don't necessarily show in their body language, you're like, your stomach hurts, what's going on? Okay, so to some extent, when I say the word empath or empathy, either or both is appropriate. But, yeah, empathy is not this 1 in a million superpower. It's not this thing that only 1 out of 3 witches gets, or that, it's something that I think is a lot deeper with us as spiritual creatures. And what I mean when I say spiritual creatures is, fuck individual religions, fuck what I do, fuck what you do, fuck what they do. Human beings in their natural state, in their, you might say, enlightened state, we're all naturally psychic, and therefore we're all also naturally empathic. You might say, well, Runa, I come from a whole family and not one of them has a drop of talent. Okay, I gotta tell you, so psychic ability, empathic ability, it is like a muscle. And what I mean by that, and I've used this analogy before, not everybody can play basketball. We all have the ability, or the vast majority of us have or will have at some point the ability to pick up a basketball and bounce it. It doesn't mean you're going to be Shaquille O'Neal, okay? Psychic ability and empathic ability ultimately is something that we all can do with proper cultivation of self, with proper understanding of ourselves and the universe around us. And a lot of what I have to say today really will intermingle with what a lot of the big faiths or big religions have said, and will intermingle with a lot of other stuff. At the end of the day, some of the most powerful things you can do for yourself magically, psychically, spiritually, are some of the most mundane things that you would possibly think. Simply put, knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, knowing your faults, knowing your features, kind of being aware of your place in the universe, but also extending that into other people. Caring for other people, loving thy neighbor, as it were, as much as that's going to gag most people to hear. It's not about bending over backwards and giving and giving and giving and giving because some pie in the sky tells you to. Okay? We're all connected. Alright? People who are like, oh, I can talk to animals, or oh, da da. Well, of course you can, to an extent. We all have this ability with animals, with babies, with children, with other people. Again, some of us are going to be a little better at it than others because some of us are better in certain areas than others, and that's a natural variation of life. Some people can draw better, some people can sing better, whatever. Realizing the unity of all things, and there's the Buddhism, that, we are all interconnected, we are all part of this great big thing together. And the more you realize that, the more you come to understand, the more you empathize in the mundane sense with the people around you. Oh, gee, well, that person that came through my store today, they were a real jerk. Hey, maybe they were having a bad day. Try not to take stuff personally, realizing that everybody's living in their own tiny cosmos. that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with you, and their cosmos interacted with your cosmos, and, you know, kind of trying to realize everybody's their own tiny universe. You know, they have people, they have family, they have jobs, they have bosses, they have feelings. Is it okay that they treated you like crap? No, I'm not saying that it is, but the more we expand our awareness, and a lot of this probably sounds really basic and really hokey, and, you know, maybe it is in a way, but I have to tell you, you know, for example, and again, I want to just, disclaimer, I have no problem with people working solo, I have no problem with people being eclectic and all that, but I am a high priestess of a coven, and I do work with one, so my perspective on that is going to come up. One of the beauties of working with a coven, you know, working with any group of people, it's a very intimate, close space, because when you share these kind of things with each other, when you're doing these kind of works with each other, you become very intimate psychically, and what I mean is you become very strongly empathically linked. You know, these people will know how you're feeling. Hell, I've had people, like, I was across the country, I've had members of my coven call me and go, oh my god, what just happened? And, you know, I got really bad news, and I got 3 people calling me the millisecond that it happened, because they felt that, like, ripple in the time-space continuum, and they're like, oh my god, Runa, I need to call Runa. And that shit happens. But on a more basic level, the way you cultivate that kind of thing is you really need to understand your place in the universe, and your place in the universe is that you are the master of your tiny cosmos, but that your tiny cosmos interacts with countless other tiny cosmoses every day, you know, depending on your lifestyle. You know, I work with the public, so people come and go in and out of my personal space all the time, and excuse me, I do want to comment, and it may not be a super popular opinion. Social media has damaged us in that realm, in that regard. And I think one of the people, so many people feel switched off, is because they're plugged in. I'm not saying Facebook is the devil. I'm not saying, you know, obviously I'm on a social media platform right now. I'm on YouTube making a YouTube channel. I think that it's not that these tools are bad, because they're only tools. You know, it's just like I say, you know, magic, it's like a gun or a knife. You can do multiple things. I think a knife's probably a better analogy. You know, I can cut up my dinner and cook and make things, or I can stab somebody with it, you know. Social media is the same thing in a different costume. You know, I'm on social media. I also very carefully cultivate what comes up on my page. I don't like, follow, and subscribe to everything that pulls up. I think about it carefully, and if I join a group and it makes me unhappy, I freaking leave. Dude, like, I don't like to engage in arguments with people. I don't like to engage in bullshit with people. And if the content gets to a point where every other thing is pissing me off or upsetting me, I just unfollow. I think, so they're actually doing scientific studies, specifically with the younger generation coming out that was raised on social media. Here I am showing my age a little bit. Once again, I'm a little older than I look. But it's not that it's bad, but we've now literally begun rewiring our brains as a species where, you know, like, I was a 90s kid, okay? We went outside and played. We didn't necessarily have telephones, or if we did, you know, you couldn't be on the phone and the internet at the same time. So a phone call was usually not a 3 or 4 hour affair. A phone call was, hey, Mrs. Johnson, can Timmy come out to play? Awesome, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And, you know, you just verified, okay, you're there, okay, cool. Or, oh, okay, well, I'll meet him over by the pier, or I'll meet him, you know, wherever. And it was a coordination tool. You know, think more like a walkie-talkie. You know, it was not the full interaction. And then, you know, okay, I'll be at such and such place at the block or the corner of blah 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 at such and such a time, and then you hopped on your bike or your scooter or whatever, and you went. And so back in these days, we physically had to see people to get our dopamine hits from social interaction. Dopamine, if you don't know, is the happy chemical in your brain. It works a lot on the same basic premise as addiction, except it is a necessary component for our survival. Your brain wants dopamine. When you don't have dopamine, you get depressed. Different conditions, such as depression and PTSD, can affect how your brain produces and processes dopamine. Well, it used to be we got dopamine from being around and seeing and physically touching people. I mean, hugs, kisses, head pats, holding hands, various different things. It's been noted that different cultures and different times, even in American society, girlfriends, platonic, girlfriends used to hold hands. Little boys used to hold hands more. And now we're like, oh my God, why would you do that? And we're in a don't touch me society. Teachers get guff for hugging their students. Different things. And I understand there's a lot of social ramifications, but the point I'm trying to make is we've gotten away from physical touch. And we have actually begun to rewire our brains, especially the younger generations. The like on Facebook, the like button. For those of you who were around before there were multiple options, it used to only be like. You couldn't dislike, you couldn't heart, you couldn't care about, you couldn't laugh. It was just a like button. People have rewired their brain such a way that they now get those dopamine hits from those likes, from those views, from those interactions. The problem is that it's not as strong of a hit, so it's synthetic interaction, basically. The dopamine's real, but you're getting, this much where you used to get, this much. You'd go see your auntie and you'd tell her all about it, and she'd hug you and she'd kiss you and she'd make you cookies. Okay, your dopamine hit there is going to be way drastically bigger than a little like or a little comment on Facebook. And the reason I'm bringing this up on a thread about empathy, or on a video about empathy, is those connections are absolutely vital to our ability to be empaths, to our natural tendency to be empaths. I'm not telling people that live alone in the woods or that never want to see anybody and only live through their computer that you can't do magic or that you can't do this, you can't do that, but I am telling you, you're going to make it harder on yourself. I'm not telling you have to have a million friends. I'm not telling you that you have to be, little Miss Susie Cream Cheese, the most popular girl in school. What I am telling you is that as long as you alienate yourself from other people, you're going to have a problem connecting. And, Mom always used to tell me, my mom was pagan, by the way. She's eclectic pagan. I was raised pagan, for those of you who don't know. And that doesn't make me better than anybody, but again, it's just a matter of perspective. So, Mom always used to tell me that the universal flow was like a river. Once you got in touch with that with magic, with the universe, with life, you could enter into that river and flow, and when necessary, pull off little rivulets, little pieces of that to do your work. And that is, to this day, kind of how I imagine magic is working. And empathy is a huge component in that. You need to understand, and even if you're not empathetic with people, you can be empathetic with anything. Okay, you can be empathetic with a houseplant, you can be empathetic with a pet, but you need to make those connections, because those connections ultimately are a pathway into connecting with the divine, however you see it. The divine equation, the force, God, the gods, God and goddess, one, two, many, all of the above, however your view, your structure is. If you want to make those bigger connections that will ultimately make you a stronger pagan, a stronger witch, a stronger magician, a stronger empath, at all, empathy really is the starting point. Because by making the small connection of, me to you in the same room, oh man, is that stomachache yours? Gee, what's going on? Do you want to talk about it? Are you okay? Are you feeling all right? Is there something upsetting you? That compassion, that connection is one of the first stepping stones to connecting with the higher divine, your higher self, the universe, the powers that be, whatever you want to call them. And it really hurts me to the core when I hear people referring to empathy like it's some kind of superpower. Okay, it's not, invisibility, flight, or empathy. It's not, do I want to throw fireballs? Do I want to, control the weather? Do I want to have it? No. We are all natural empaths, okay? And if you're having trouble finding that ability within yourself, connecting with that, go for a walk, dude. Preferably somewhere in nature if you can. You know, look at the multitudes of life around you. Look at the leaves on the trees. Look at the ants. Look at the birds. Look at the seals. Look at the algae. Look at the seaweed. You know, look at the pine needles. You know, whatever you've got, wherever you are. And it works in the city too. It just can be a little harder to drown out the noise. I encourage you, look at all the life around you. Look at, you know, and even in the city, okay, you got other people there. You know, whatever it is, living, breathing, biological creatures, okay? Realize you are but a tiny grain of sand in the Sahara of life. And that realization, as scary as it is for some people, that is the first stepping stone to being an empath, to having empathy, and to really unlocking some of the deeper capabilities in spirituality, paganism, Wicca, magic, high magic, you know, whatever it is you want to call it. In my opinion, it's all more the same. We all have our own flavor. You know, there's a Satanist over here, there's a Wiccan over here, there's a traditional Wiccan over there, high, you know, there's the eclectic over there. We're all ultimately working with different flavors of the same juice, okay? And I just really hope this has given some insight. If there's anything I haven't clarified, if there's any, you know, if I've created more questions, fantastic. Please feel free to comment, private message me, what have you. Still looking for submissions to the Cauldron of Questions. You know, anonymously ask me anything. I'll do a video on it, I promise. I've been really busy lately. Again, sorry for not getting back to you guys. I've had a lot of irons in the fire. My health has kind of been back and forth, and work has been a lot. I manage a store. This year I'm managing 2. Plus, actually, people to run them. So I now have employees and 2 stores this year, which is not a phenomenon I am used to. I usually single-handedly run one store all by myself, and I am, you know, the whole kit and caboodle. So forgive me if I'm a little intermittent. I'm still around. I haven't forgot y'all. I am actually about to pull up on work here in just a minute. So I am going to sign off, let you guys go. This is Simply Runa. I hope you have a blessed day.